Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you may explain why your life feels the way it does right now. You see, when God is about to bless you with something bigger than you've ever imagined, your world won't look calm, neat, and easy. No, it'll look confusing, heavy, and sometimes unbearable. But hear me, those very storms are the signs that something powerful is on the way. If you've been asking, why is everything around me falling apart? Why are doors closing in my face? Why do I feel this strange stirring in my spirit? Don't stop watching, because I'm about to show you 6 undeniable signs that God is preparing to give you something big. And if you recognize these signs in your life, it means your breakthrough is closer than you think. The first sign: you'll feel unusual pressure before your breakthrough. It's like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But that pressure isn't there to crush you. It's there to prepare you. Diamonds are formed under pressure. So when you feel the squeeze, understand it's a signal that God is shaping you for something greater. The second sign: doors will close unexpectedly. That job you thought was yours, that relationship you thought would last, that opportunity you thought was secure, suddenly gone. But don't cry over closed doors. Sometimes God has to shut them so you don't settle for less than He planned. Rejection is often His protection. The third sign: there will be a sudden restlessness in your spirit. You'll feel uncomfortable where you once felt settled. It's not that you've done anything wrong. It's that God is pushing you out of your comfort zone because He's calling you to a higher place. The fourth sign: unexpected favor will begin to show up. People you barely know will start to help you. Resources you didn't ask for will suddenly find their way to you. That's not luck, that's alignment. God will send the right people at the right time to open doors no one else can. The fifth sign: things will begin to accelerate. What once felt delayed will suddenly move quickly. That vision you've been carrying for years, suddenly it starts falling into place. Because when God says it's time, nothing and no one can slow it down. And the sixth sign: you will feel peace in the middle of chaos. Everything around you may look like it's collapsing, but inside you'll feel an unexplainable calm. That's God's confirmation. That's His whisper saying, I'm with you. Don't be afraid. The blessing is already on its way, so don't give up now. Don't mistake pressure for punishment or closed doors for failure. These are signs, clear, undeniable signs, that God is about to give you something big. Pressure, it's something we all try to avoid. But let me tell you, when God is about to bless you with something big, pressure will show up in your life like never before. You'll feel it in your mind, in your relationships, in your finances, in your spirit. It's as if life itself is pushing down on you from every angle, and you start asking, why me? Why now? Why does it feel like everything is breaking at the same time? But you see, that pressure isn't there to destroy you. It's there to prepare you. Just like coal has to go through unimaginable pressure to become a diamond, your life has to go through seasons of crushing before you shine with the brilliance God placed inside you. The weight you feel is not punishment, it's positioning. Think about it. Before a mother brings life into this world, there's labor pain. Before a seed becomes a tree, it has to push its way through the hard soil. And before light breaks through the darkness, there is the longest hour of night. That's what pressure does. It signals that something is about to be born. You might feel like you're being crushed, but in reality, you're being shaped. You might feel like you're suffocating under the load, but in truth, you're being strengthened to carry what's coming next. The pressure is proof that God is still working. You may notice that the pressure doesn't come when everything is calm. It comes right before something shifts. It comes right before promotion. It comes right before expansion. When you're closest to your blessing, the weight becomes the heaviest. That's why so many people quit too soon. They walk away when they were only inches away from the breakthrough they've been praying for. And maybe that's why you're listening to this right now. Because God doesn't want you to quit under the pressure. He wants you to understand it. Pressure will test you in every area. It will challenge your patience, your faith, your discipline. It will make you want to give up on yourself, on your dreams, sometimes even on God. But if you hold on, if you can withstand the crushing, you'll discover that the pressure was not an enemy. It was a midwife. It was delivering you into a season you could never have reached without it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every disappointment, every unanswered question, it all becomes the soil where your breakthrough grows. So the next time you feel like life is pressing you to the ground, don't just ask God to take the pressure away. Ask Him what He's birthing inside you through it. Ask Him what strength He's building, what lesson He's teaching, what capacity He's enlarging. Because the truth is, God would never allow you to feel that kind of weight if He wasn't preparing to release something heavy into your hands. The pressure is a sign. The greater the weight, the greater the blessing that's on its way. One of the hardest things to understand in life is when a door we desperately wanted to walk through suddenly shuts in our face. You prepared for it. You prayed for it. You were convinced it was yours. And just when it felt certain, it slipped away. That job you thought was your future sends you a rejection letter. That relationship you invested years in suddenly ends. That opportunity you were counting on vanishes without warning, and you're left confused, angry, maybe even questioning God, wondering, why would He allow this to happen? But what if I told you that closed doors are not the end of your story? What if I told you they're actually one of the clearest signs that God is about to give you something bigger than you imagined? Because when God closes a door, He doesn't do it to punish you. He does it to protect you and redirect you towards something greater. You see, we only see a snapshot of our lives, but God sees the whole picture. He knows the conversations we never hear, the motives we can't see, the traps waiting down the road. And sometimes, in His love, He blocks what we think is best because He knows it would have destroyed us. That job you didn't get may have looked perfect on paper, but it would have drained your soul. That person you thought was the one may have carried a future full of pain you couldn't see. That opportunity you wanted so badly may have been designed to distract you from your true calling. God's denial is not rejection. It's redirection. He closes doors so you don't settle for less when He's preparing to give you more. Think about it. Every closed door in your past, didn't it eventually lead you to something better? Maybe you didn't understand it in the moment. Maybe you even cried over it. But now when you look back, you realize that what you lost was never meant to hold your destiny. That relationship that ended made room for growth you would have never experienced otherwise. That job you didn't get forced you into a path that opened doors you never expected. Closed doors are not the end. They are detours guiding you to the place God already prepared for you. And here's the part we often miss. Sometimes the louder we knock on a door, the tighter God has to shut it. Because He knows if He left it slightly open, we'd walk right in and settle. Closed doors hurt, but they also save. They save us from wasted time, wasted energy, and wasted years. They save us from attaching our future to the wrong people, the wrong places, and the wrong plans. If you're facing a closed door right now, don't see it as failure, see it as favor. Because it means God cares too much about your future to let you walk into something beneath your calling. There comes a time in life when everything around you looks fine on the outside, but inside, you can't shake this unsettled feeling. You go to the same job, you see the same people, you follow the same routine, and yet something deep within whispers, this isn't it anymore. It's not depression, it's not boredom, it's a holy restlessness stirring in your spirit. That's one of the clearest signs that God is about to move you into something bigger. He disrupts your comfort so you don't stay stuck in a place that was only meant to be temporary. That restlessness isn't a mistake, it's divine preparation. At first, it feels confusing. You start asking yourself, why do I feel like this? Why can't I just be content with what I have? And people around you may not understand it either. They'll tell you to be grateful, to stop overthinking, to settle down. But you know something they don't. Your spirit is unsettled because it's being called higher. You're being prepared for a transition, and that requires a shift inside before the change happens outside. God always disrupts your spirit before He elevates your position. Look at how it works in nature. When an eagle senses it's time for her young to fly, she begins to stir up the nest. What was once comfortable becomes irritating. She removes the soft feathers and exposes the thorns underneath, making the eaglets restless. Why? Because if they stayed comfortable, they'd never spread their wings. That's exactly what God does with us. When we've outgrown a season, He allows discomfort to rise up inside us. That uneasiness you feel is God stirring your nest, pushing you to spread your wings and step into the unknown. Restlessness shows up in many ways. Maybe you suddenly feel disconnected from conversations that used to excite you. Maybe you lose interest in places you once loved going to. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night with thoughts of a future you can't explain. Or maybe it's just a quiet voice telling you there's more out there for you. That's not something to ignore. That's God calling you forward. He's shifting your heart before He shifts your circumstances. Sometimes the restlessness can be so strong it feels unbearable, and that's where many people get it wrong. They think the discomfort means they've made a mistake or that something is wrong with them. But the truth is, you haven't done anything wrong. You've simply outgrown where you are. Just like a plant needs a bigger pot when its roots expand, your life needs a bigger space when your calling grows. God uses restlessness as the signal that it's time to move, to grow, to prepare for what's next. So if you're feeling that tug inside of you right now, don't fight it. Don't try to bury it with distractions or silence it with excuses. That restlessness is not there to torment you. It's there to awaken you. It's God's way of letting you know that the season you're in is not the season you're meant to stay in. One of the clearest signs that God is preparing to give you something big is when favor starts showing up in ways you can't explain. People you don't even know, people who have no reason to help you, suddenly start opening doors for you. Opportunities begin to align, resources begin to appear, and it feels like the right people come into your life at just the right moment. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's God's hand moving pieces on the board of your life, arranging connections that lead you closer to your destiny. When God is about to elevate you, He uses people as instruments of His favor, and they will show up when you least expect it. Sometimes this favor will come from complete strangers. You walk into a room and someone decides to give you a chance, not because of your resume, not because of your status, but because they feel something about you they can't describe. That's God's Spirit working through them. Other times it comes from people who once overlooked you, now suddenly noticing your value. The very people who ignored you start recommending your name in conversations you're not even a part of. That's not them changing their mind. That's God changing their heart. This kind of favor has nothing to do with what you deserve and everything to do with what God has already prepared. Think about how many times in your life you ended up in the right place at the right time without planning it. A conversation that seemed casual led to an opportunity that changed everything. A person you just happened to meet became the bridge to the next level of your journey. Those are not accidents, those are divine appointments. God has a way of aligning your path with the right people, and when the time is right, He'll position them to help you step into places you could never reach on your own. And here's what makes it powerful. This favor doesn't always make sense. You may not have the experience, you may not have the connections, you may not even feel qualified, but doors still open. That's because God's favor goes ahead of you. It speaks for you when you can't speak for yourself. It moves hearts, it bends rules, it overrides systems. People will say yes to you and not even know why. They'll offer support, opportunities, and kindness that you could never have orchestrated. That's when you know it's not about you, it's about what God is doing through you. This is why you don't have to chase people or beg for validation. The right people will find you when the season shifts in your favor. You don't need to force connections. You just need to stay faithful and prepared. Because when favor comes, it will feel sudden, but in reality, it's been building behind the scenes all along. God knows exactly who to send and when to send them to align with the blessing He has waiting for you. There are seasons in life when everything feels slow, when no matter how hard you work, doors refuse to open. You pray, you plan, you prepare, and yet it feels like you're stuck in the same place year after year. But then suddenly, almost without warning, things begin to shift. What once took months now happens in days. What you thought would take years comes together in weeks. That sudden acceleration is one of the clearest signs that God is preparing to give you something big, because when His timing arrives, everything speeds up. The waiting season may feel endless, but the moment God says no, nothing can stop the momentum He puts behind you. Think about it like planting a seed. For a long time, you see nothing. You water, you nurture, you wait. And underground, it looks like nothing is happening. But then one day, the seed breaks through the soil and grows faster than you ever expected. That's how acceleration works in life. You don't see all the behind the scenes work God is doing to prepare you and align everything around you. But when it's time, growth becomes rapid. The opportunities that once felt impossible suddenly open wide. People who once ignored you start calling your name. Ideas that once felt stuck begin to flow with clarity. It's not coincidence. It's God's divine acceleration. This is why patience is so important. Because in the slow seasons, it's easy to lose faith. It's easy to believe that nothing is moving, that God has forgotten you. But what you don't realize is that He's been setting the stage all along. He's been arranging people, aligning circumstances, and preparing you internally for the moment He decides to accelerate your path. And when that moment comes, it will make up for all the time you thought you lost. Years of waiting can be redeemed in a single season of acceleration. One connection, one opportunity, one open door can advance you further than a decade of effort ever could. And here's the truth. God doesn't need time to bless you. He only needs timing. His blessing isn't tied to your calendar. It's tied to His purpose. That's why you can be hidden for years and then suddenly step into visibility overnight. You can be struggling for so long and then suddenly see breakthrough after breakthrough. That's the rhythm of divine acceleration. When it comes, it's undeniable. Things align too perfectly, too quickly for it to be anything but God's hand moving on your behalf. So if you're in that place where doors are opening faster than you can even process, don't question it. Don't sabotage it by doubting whether you deserve it. Understand that it's simply God saying the waiting season is over. It's Him confirming that the prayers you thought went unheard were always being answered, just in His timing, not yours. And when His timing comes, it comes with a speed that no human hand could ever create. One of the most powerful signs that God is preparing to give you something big is when you experience peace that doesn't make sense. Everything around you may look like it's falling apart. Bills are stacking up, relationships are shaky, the future looks uncertain, and yet deep inside you feel calm. You can't explain it, you can't rationalize it, but there's the quiet assurance in your heart that somehow, some way, everything is going to be all right. That is not ordinary peace, that is divine peace. And it only shows up when God's hand is on your life. Normally, chaos creates panic. When life feels unstable, the natural response is fear, worry, and anxiety. But when God is preparing to bless you, He gives you a supernatural calm that overrides your circumstances. It's the kind of peace that lets you sleep while storms rage outside your window. It's the kind of peace that makes people around you wonder how you're still standing, how you're still smiling, how you're still moving forward when you have every reason to break down. That's when you know it's not your strength, it's God carrying you. This peace is not about everything being perfect. It's about knowing that even in imperfection, you are protected. It's about knowing that even when the plan isn't clear, the author of your story already knows the ending. And when you carry that kind of assurance, chaos loses its power over you. The enemy can throw confusion, loss, disappointment, and delay at you, but he can't shake your spirit, because your spirit is anchored in something greater than what you see. That stillness inside you is the sign that God is moving, even if your circumstances don't look like it yet. Many times, this peace shows up right before a major shift. It comes when you should be overwhelmed, but instead you feel lighter. It comes when you should be drowning in worry, but instead you're standing steady. And it comes because God is letting you know that the storm around you is not the end of your story. It's His way of whispering, "I've got this. Don't be afraid. What's coming is bigger than what you're facing." That assurance allows you to endure what others can't, because you're not leaning on your own understanding, you're leaning on His promise. And here's the beauty of it. When you walk in that kind of peace, it attracts favor, it attracts opportunities, it attracts the right people, because people are drawn to stability, and stability rooted in God's peace is unshakable. You become a living testimony that chaos doesn't define you, peace does. You become a reminder to others that circumstances don't have the final say, God does. So if you find yourself in a storm, but your heart is strangely calm, don't ignore it. That peace is not random, it's intentional. It's God's way of confirming that your breakthrough is already on the way, and no amount of chaos can cancel what He has prepared for you. So, when you feel pressure pressing in on every side, when doors close without warning, when restlessness won't let you stay where you are, when favor starts appearing in places you least expect, when opportunities begin to move faster than you can keep up with, And when peace fills your heart in the middle of chaos, don't be confused. These are not random moments, they are divine signals. They are the fingerprints of God, letting you know that something greater is about to unfold in your life. Hold on, don't quit, don't doubt, because the signs are clear. God is preparing to give you something big, something beyond what you asked for, something that will make sense of everything you've endured. Your breakthrough is closer than you think.